From Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Would people like to make a statement?
Your Honor, very briefly, I'd just like to say a few words. Much like your prosecutors in the courtroom, we don't make it a habit of making statements at sentencing. That said, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Your Honor for your hospitality after our judges obviously recused themselves in this matter, and for your staff's professionalism as well. Thank you. With respect to the sentencing judge, I would ask you to adopt the recommendation. I think it's more than fair in light of the facts, both of the event itself as well as some of Mr. Kishnik's behavior throughout the course of the proceeding as well, considering the bond violation. Other than that, Judge, I'd leave sentencing up to you, and I, again, thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Mr. Kishnik, is there anything you'd like to state to the court prior to the court issuing sentence?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to tell you that in the last 8 to 10 weeks, it's been an opportunity for me to reflect on my life and where it's going, and I want this court to know, and I said it at the bond violation on March 27th, I want you to know that I'm sorry for the bond violation. I'm sorry for my actions on the night of March 9th, and I'm willing to accept a fair and just sentence, and I look forward to everyone moving on in a very positive way.
All right, thank you. Well, obviously these are difficult cases when they're brought in the media and the press, and you have to give the same amount of consideration to this case that I would any other case. In reading the plea, I will agree that the defendant pled guilty. As a matter of fact, he pled no contest, which recuses him from the ability of receiving the 769-4A deferment, which is the opportunity to earn a dismissal. So I do take that into account, but I was bothered by the words from the witnesses, the description of the incident. It goes beyond the normal. Even in a domestic violence case, the victim just spoke. Her words were very different than words that were given to me in regard to the incident itself. She obviously was terrified. There was violence. She has been traumatized since that period of time. And although you say there is no evidence of substance abuse, there was obvious intoxication that day. And there's going to have to, Mr. Kishnik, I do believe that you are going to need to address that, because it's clear to this court that there's an issue with substance abuse. Whether or not it's a continuous or whatever, but your behavior was way out of the norm and inexcusable on that night. And clearly intoxication was a factor. So I think the recommendation is a fair and just recommendation. I am going to place you on 15 months of reporting supervision at a cost of $40 per month probation oversight expense. You will pay fines and costs of $570. There's a $50 state fee and a $75 crime victims' rights fee. I do not believe there's any restitution requested at this time. If there is restitution requested, you may be required to pay that as well. You will serve 30 days in the Oakland County Jail, which will be held in abeyance and suspended upon successful completion of your probationary term. Additionally, you will serve 5 days WAM or 5 days in the Oakland County Jail. You will continue to refrain from the use of any alcohol or controlled substances unless you have a valid prescription issued in your name for a documented medical condition. You will test randomly for alcohol and controlled substances as directed by your probation officer. You will take all prescribed medications as directed by your physician with verification to your probation officer. I do want you to continue your outpatient treatment specific to substance abuse and mental health. You will also complete a 40-week domestic violence program as directed by your probation officer. You will have no contact whatsoever with the victim, Kelly Molinar, in person, writing, telephone, or through an agent that will be entered into the lien system. You should not exhibit any assaultive, abusive, intimidating, or controlling behaviors. You shall not possess any firearms or ammunition. You will continue to seek or maintain full-time employment or school or combination of both with verification to your probation officer. Now, Mr. Kishnick, do you understand the terms and conditions of your probation?
May I have a moment?
Yes.
Your Honor, just with regard to the drug screens, I don't know what you said with regard to the BBT.
I said that because it's complicated, I said it's at the direction of the probation officer.
Okay, so they'll just work it
The
out.
probation officer will sit down with you and discuss. Sometimes people don't want a PBT, they prefer to have an in-home screening unit, or they want to wear a bracelet, and rather than spending the whole afternoon negotiating how you're going to test or how often, I'm going to let you sit down with your probation officer, and at her direction, you will determine the testing.
Okay, sure. And then my second question is with regards to the fines and costs, Your Honor. We're asking that the bond that was posted be applied to the fines and costs.
Yes,
And
was that a cash bond?
there was a cash bond, and the balance returned to Mr. Kishnick whenever
Yes,
everything
that's
gets
fine.
sorted out. Okay,
Fine.
thank you, Judge.
Yeah, if you go to the front desk, my clerks can take care of that paperwork. You'll also be given a copy of your judgment of sentence. Then they will send you over to the probation department to make that first appointment.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. And lastly, the probation, I know this is, because of the change in venue, we're wondering about where the probation officer will physically be. Will it?
The probation officer will be here.
Okay,
If there's a determination to send it back to the Troy department, that'll have to be through an order or through a motion.
Okay.
But I believe that because they've recused themselves completely, it will remain here.
okay, very good, Your Honor. Can I just have one more moment?
Sure.
Okay, I think we're all set, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
All right, this matter is concluded then.
Thank you,
If you'd like
Judge.
to go to the front desk, they'll get the paperwork going for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. Let's give them a 5-minute break.
All rise. Court is now in recess.